Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right. I want to start out the new year by, first of all, thanking a lot of the residents who reached out to me, who were concerned about my health and well-being. And I made a commitment to my wife, Kelly, as well as several of you in this room, that I would do a better job this year of taking care of myself. So I'm going to live up that commitment. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to get rest. Eat properly. Well, maybe if I can hold off on that. But I'm going to do a better job of taking care of myself. I got a lot of content here, so I'm going to go through all of it. And if we have enough time for a Q&A, we'll take questions and answers. If not, a lot of information is on my newsletter. I know everybody gets my newsletter, and you can always reach out to me at another time. My focus for 2020 is the following: creating new and affordable housing, homelessness, parks, small and disadvantaged businesses, our Project Hope initiative, transportation, bringing innovation to District 1 in the city of San Jose, and constituent services. So you can tell that we have a pretty full plate that we want to accomplish. Homelessness. We had our first 2 meetings of the Homelessness Roundtable. They went really well. We had upwards of 50 participants in the first one, and about, 25 or so participants in the second one. So that went really well. And we want to get your input and advice on what we can do next in terms of the next steps. My vision for the Homelessness Roundtable is to create a community-based, bottom-up process. A lot of times, these decisions are made from the top down. The city government makes the decisions, and we dictate those to the community. There's going to be a project, a homelessness project in District 1. There's going to be a project in every district. We need to make sure that we're prepared for that project when it comes to D1. Caltrans. Who's seen all the work that Caltrans has done already on the freeways? They've done a lot of landscaping. They've done encampment abatements. And we also are piloting new fence technology. So we have some areas along the freeway that have the wrought iron fences as opposed to the chain link fences. That's been pretty effective, and it's been working really well. Parks. Payne Avenue Park, formerly Club of Ideas. There's a meeting coming up on January 30th at the Campbell United Methodist Church. This is a follow-up meeting. We've had several meetings on that park. And what we're trying to do is get input from all the surrounding communities. We have a lot of input already, particularly on the Cadillac side of the neighborhood, but we want to get more input from Eden. Hathaway Park. There's a lot of upgrades that we're making, renovations we're making in Hathaway Park. Hopefully, the residents that live near the park are seeing those upgrades. Saratoga Creek Park. We're working on a sensory garden and the maintenance vehicle turnout that's currently under construction. Valley Oaks will be planted throughout Saratoga Creek Park. I'm currently working with the Parks Department, this is for you, Doris, to get more funding to do some improvements and upgrades at Murdoch. So stay tuned for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. VTA. I currently serve on the VTA board, and we're heavily engaged in rehauling our board governance. We hear a lot of complaints from the community about empty buses, poor service, and other deficiencies at VTA. We're looking at improving board governance to improve the process and improve the service delivery. Regarding VTA services, we recently launched a new transit service on December 28th. Those changes include improvements in light rail. Now we have 3 distinct lines, 20 all-day frequent bus routes operating every 15 minutes or better, and streamlined connections to regional services. If you want more information, visit the VTA news service, www.newsservice.vta.org. The Stevens Creek Corridor. We've done a lot of work working with our neighboring municipalities. So it's the city of Cupertino, city of Santa Clara, the county, we've all come together and passed resolutions to do a Stevens Creek corridor study. That study is going to involve VTA working on high-capacity, fast transit down the Stevens Creek corridor. So we're really excited about that. We're able to bring all those municipalities together, and it's pretty encouraging and exciting. We also have an exciting, another initiative, which is an RFI, a request for information, for, again, high-capacity, cost-efficient mode of transportation down the Stevens Creek corridor, as well as connecting the Dearborn station to the airport. So the vision on that is, if you can just imagine, the Dearborn station is going to be a major transportation hub. It's going to be one of the biggest transportation hubs in the western United States. If we can connect high-speed transit from the Dearborn station all the way to DeAndre College, we can address a lot of the traffic issues that we face in the West Valley. The other exciting thing about that too is there were 23 respondents to that RFI. There's some really cool technology. Some of it is like monorails and Hyperloop, personnel pods. There's a lot of features and technologies that are in play here. So the next thing is the Small Business Advisory Task Force. That's a vision that I had when I first came into office, is to create a task force that's going to address the issues around small business in the city of San Jose. We created that task force. We have members that represent many of the ethnic chambers, as well as the major Silicon Valley organization, Chamber of Commerce as well. The purpose, again, of that task force is to create contracting opportunities for the city of San Jose, as well as improve the business environment for those small businesses. Okay. The city launched a business tax amnesty program. One of the programs that really came about in terms of the advice and direction of the Small Business Task Force is to work with the city in terms of how they communicate these programs. So, for instance, a lot of the information that goes out to the residents and to businesses are kind of standardized, and they have a certain format and the way they present that information. And so when we rolled out a tax amnesty program, it turned out that the information they were providing, particularly to the ethnic communities, was very intimidating. So imagine if you have a program where you want a business, a small business, to step up and say, hey, I haven't been paying my taxes, I haven't been registered, but now here's an opportunity for me to do that and clear the record, but it's not presented in a certain culturally sensitive way, then they're not going to get a positive response. So working with my task force, we were able to work with the city, change the way we communicate that information, and we're going to continue with that process as well. Development. There's a couple of big things going on. Obviously, El Paseo de Saratoga is a big issue here. And I've talked to many community groups about that, and we can take questions after this presentation. But I can tell you that my vision for that site has been pretty consistent. I had a meeting with Sandhill on Thursday about that site, and my vision is to have a site that's walkable, that's pedestrian friendly, to have a main street that we can go and to spend time, have a coffee, relax, maybe have a jazz club, still have a movie theater, maybe a grocery store. So just imagine like Lincoln Avenue or downtown Canton, in a scenario where we can actually want to spend time at that location. Innovation Zone. We launched an Innovation Zone, and we had a big press conference 2 weeks ago. And we're really excited about that Innovation Zone, and I've talked to many of you about that. The vision on that Innovation Zone is to have an area that's carved out in my district, as well as working with District 6 and my council colleague, Councilmember Davis, to have an area where technology and technology companies can come and pilot new technologies, new innovation. In that Innovation Zone, we're also going to have an innovation hub, and we're identifying the Century 21 Theater for the Innovation Hub. In that Innovation Hub, the vision is to have incubator space for startups, and new technology companies to work. Youth camps, youth STEM camps for young people to be exposed to technology, as well as job retraining for older workers, kind of a work of the future situation. So imagine an ecosystem where you have technology taking place, you have young people being exposed to technology, you have older workers being exposed to that technology. It's within an area in an ecosystem where new technology is taking place. Really exciting stuff. We had our kickoff. We have some really good strategic partners like Verizon, Bird, Siemens, Federal Realty, and Prospect Silicon Valley. Local transportation updates. There's a new improved street coming your way. As all of you know, that we approved $300 million to go to neighborhood street improvement. A lot of those streets are going to be in District 1. So look out for our newsletter. We're going to list all the streets in 2020 that are going to be updated or upgraded or improved in the district. And by the end of 8 years, we should have every neighborhood street in the district upgraded. The website launch. If you haven't recently visited my website, please do. Anna Lee has spent a lot of time working on that website and updating it, and it looks really, really good. Water. My office is working with Valley Water to come up with an agreement to utilize and build a water recycling plant. We're in the early stages of that, so I don't have a lot to really update you on, but just stay tuned because there could be some exciting news coming out that the city of San Jose has entered into an agreement with Valley Water to build a water recycling plant that's going to really allow us to really utilize recycled water. And if you know a little bit about those recycling water plants, you can actually get the water to such a purity that you can actually drink it, even though I haven't done that yet. Have you tried that water yet? But theoretically, you can drink it. Public safety. So we have an acting D1 captain, Captain Stephen Donahue, who's been doing a great job filling in that position. But we are going to get a notification sometime soon that we're going to get a new permanent captain. So when we get that announcement, we'll let you know. So I went to the latest police academy yesterday, graduation. And I can tell you that, first of all, that academy is full, we've come a long way since when I first came on to the council, where we had academies where we graduated seven recruits.
How many?
When I first came on the council, we were graduating 7 recruits in the academy. We had over 40.
Oh, wow.
And all the previous academies that I've been to, particularly over the last year or so, have been in that range of 40 plus. So we've come a long way in terms of rebuilding our force, but we have a long way to go. I initiated a request with the city auditor to do an audit on police staffing. We have an allocation. If we're fully staffed in the city of San Jose, we have an allocation of 1,150 police officers for a city of 1 million people. Again, I'll repeat that, 1,150 officers for a city of 1 million people. So if you look at comparable cities like San Antonio, Phoenix, they have many more officers than we do. And so there needs to be a serious discussion in terms of what is the appropriate staffing levels, not just what we're allocated, but what's the appropriate staffing levels. And when we get those numbers back, it's going to be a very costly effort to get us to that point. I don't know what that number is, but if we just assume that we have comparable numbers to Austin, Texas, which is about 1,800 police officers. So we're talking,
Let's go there.
yeah. So we're talking about increasing the force by almost 700 officers. So imagine the amount of money that would be required to do that. But you have to have that out there and have that discussion before you do it out. So at least challenge the community in terms of how we're going to raise the money to get those numbers. There's always still issues with police officers retiring, but if we continue to have big numbers like that in our academies, I think we can at least meet those goals. Car break-ins. As everybody knows, that there's an epidemic of smash and grabs. Epidemic of smash and grabs in the community. It's not just a District 1 problem. It's not just a City of San Jose problem. It is a regional problem. So if you watch the news, what's happening in San Francisco and surrounding communities, you know, the city of Sunnyvale had 43 car break-ins in one night. So it's a significant problem. I went to Sacramento and testified and made a request for $750,000 to form a task force for San Jose and some of the surrounding cities. And we've actually started to make arrests. So it has paid off. There's been a recent arrest of some individuals. As you probably can guess, a lot of these crews are operating, they're coming from out of town. They come into San Jose and they break into our vehicles. So make sure you do not keep your valuables exposed in the car. So if you go to the shopping centers, the malls, park on the street, either take your valuables with you or put them in a safe location in your trunk. And if you have a car where you can lower the back seats, where someone has access to your trunk, then I probably recommend that you just take your valuables in with you. Even if it's your laptop, you know, maybe you don't want to be bothered with it, but you know, it's worth it just to go ahead and take it with you. So, last is events. We've had a very successful Shred-a-thon, very well attended. Nearly 200 residents dropped off their items. And one of the things I liked about that is we changed location and we changed the queuing and how it operated. And I think the feedback that we got it went very smoothly. We did have a little hiccup in terms of the medication drop-off, which we'll address next year, but overall it was a very successful event. The 9th annual African American flag raising is going to be on Monday, February 3rd. The flag raising is set to begin at 5:30 with a celebration and food, so save the date and come out and celebrate. We're also hosting the annual Great American Litter Pickup on April 25th from 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. And this year we'll be at Murdoch Park, Cadillac Winchester, and Hathaway Park. Save that date. District 3 has been winning the award for the highest number of participants, and I don't want that to happen. District which? District 3. Raul Perales. So we got to stop that. We got to win that award. He's actually won several awards for different things like best costume for Halloween. And so he has this award like stand in front of his office. So I've been threatening to come by and knock off all his awards. And then finally, D1 decides. We worked with the city clerk's office on how the funds will be dispersed. We'll be reaching out in the next couple of weeks to gather tax IDs and VIS codes. And we're going to be actively working on transferring funds to the San Jose Fire Department, Station 14, and DOT. So if that's not enough, that's...
How about parks? How about the parks?
In terms of...
Transferring funds, you said, to the fire station, DOT.
We're going to transfer all the funds to the appropriate departments. Yeah, don't worry about that. All right. So that's my update. I know that was a lot. I was trying to get through, but I'm open now for the questions. Yes.
I was wondering if we can't clean up the homeless encampments, get them off the street and the freeways. Can we at least have them pick up their own trash? Is there a way we can provide trash bins and encouragement for them to do that?
We've actually done that. We've provided trash bags to some of the homeless. There were some logistical issues with that, and we can't force them to put their trash, but we agree with you that if there's any way that we can reduce the amount of trash out there, work with the homeless, at the very least provide them trash bags so they can utilize that service. We've tried it, and we're going to continue to try to do that. Because obviously the trash is a major issue, a major concern, and a blight.
Jackie?
I was at the Park Advocates meeting on Thursday night, and there was a gentleman there talking about that they've got a plan going, I don't know how far it's progressed, where they're going to be paying homeless people, can't quite get this in my head, if they're paying people $4 a bag for when they bring in trash, they're gonna give it to them on a credit card they can, like a debit card, that they can't use for alcohol or drugs or any of that stuff.
Right.
I'm kind of wondering if they're not just going to be going emptying every trash can they
Yeah,
see in the
dumpster
neighborhood.
diving. Yeah. There's
Then we can do away with green waste, you know, if they've taken care of it. But anyway, apparently they've got a plan going for that, so I don't know if you haven't heard about it yet.
No, and I share the same concerns you share, Doris. I mean, come on, they can dumpster dive or.
Yeah, they'll be just driving down our neighborhoods or walking down our neighborhoods, emptying everybody's trash can on recycle day.
Yeah, there would need to be some type of process in there where it was monitored that they were actually picking up the trash
Right.
in the location.
Or maybe just recyclables to start with.
Or maybe recyclables, but yeah, I haven't heard about that, but there's.
Okay, there was a gentleman there, I don't know who he was, because the meeting was way out in Santa Clara Street, so.
If it's recyclables, then they're gonna go through everybody's recyclables the night before trash day.
Yeah.
Trash day. We've had that happen, yes.
I don't know, didn't mean to.
It's all right.
But you just mentioned how Westgate Mall is one of the top 10 car break-in locations, so we are getting more task force attention. And that's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in our area, especially around Westgate West, Del Paseo, it's a major problem. I can't tell you the amount of reports that we get and complaints we get in terms of car break-ins. And, that's the other thing too, is when it happens, definitely get the word out that we need to report it. Even if the police don't show up, when I meet with the police captain or David meets with the police captain, first thing they do is they pull up the reports. If they don't see the amount of incidents that warrant additional resources, then we have a problem.
But it sounds like Westgate Mall is is getting a lot more attention from the burglary team, or we're getting more resources there, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, go ahead, David.
So you're right. Westgate is actually in communication with our office and San Jose PD. The challenge right now is we do have an acting captain. So for him to deploy any kind of strategic teams to work in that specific area can't really be done until we get our Western Division captain appointed, hopefully within the next couple of days. But Westgate West has put out some new camera systems that they're testing out, and they should have their mall fully outfitted really soon with the cameras. They did add some additional security on their own, private security, but that is one of the things that Chappie put on my to-do list, was to definitely meet with our captain and come up with a plan to address a lot of the break-ins that are occurring for Westgate West, Westgate, El Paseo, and a few of the other small malls that are along that particular corridor.
Is El Paseo doing anything new at this time?
So I don't know, but they changed their lighting. Their lighting used to be the amber lighting. They changed all their amber lighting to the LED lighting, so that it's a lot better. I don't know how many of you appears to be there and see how bright it is now, but they did change the lighting. There is discussion about the possibility of introducing some cameras from the stores, but as far as the exterior, there hasn't been any mention.
This is one last point on that as well. The purpose of the task force is really for all the neighboring jurisdictions to come together and look at these traveling crews. They're going in Westgate West and Paseo and Westgate are victims of those crews. So indirectly, the benefit fits them all, just because if they can arrest those crew members, then we're all going to take it throughout the area. Yes, ma'am.
We had a similar question. When you talked about the water treatment plant, San Jose has two water treatment plants, the first level that we've had for a long time, and then this higher level that you were talking about over on the Saker area. Are you talking about a new and additional facility, and where would that be? Would it be in District 1?
We are talking about a new facility. Valley Water is going to invest about $1 billion in that facility. This is the proposal. And more than likely would be out in North San Jose where the other facilities are. I can't see anything, we don't have some land or room here to support
Yeah.
it.
And doesn't it have to come off of that first level water treatment? The water goes to that first level water treatment, and then it goes across the road to the higher purification, water purification facility. So you have to be able to actually get access to water, right?
So, Jaffe's still working with the water on that particular policy, so I don't really want him to talk too much because we're still working that out. But as soon as we have the framework and we're able to talk about it more, we'll definitely be putting it out.
I have a question.
So I think Bob's next. Yeah.
With all you're doing, Chappie, do you get time for sleep? I mean, that's really important for your health.
That is one of the things I'm working on, for sure. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, it looks like you're doing amazing work on Stevens Creek corridor, you know, especially having this multi-jurisdictional coordination, which is great. There's 2 other development proposals on Stevens Creek right now, at least one that's for sure, and one that may be coming soon. And that is, we have the heart of the village, which is Saratoga and Stevens Creek, and that's a pretty good sized development in there with one-story parking garages and no housing in the current proposal. And then I understand that Sageway properties for sale within half hour block. And so we have a lot going on there. And I'm wondering if the Stevens Creek Advisory Group is going to be able to get together and do any type of, update, review what's going on. We still have one more chapter to do. So is there any opportunity for the Stevens Creek Advisory Group to get together?
There is an opportunity. I'm more than welcome that obviously logistically and resource-wise, it can be challenging because a lot of the efforts for the urban villages, obviously, we got grant money to be able to facilitate that process. If we did something like that again, or at least brought the group back, it'd probably be run out of my office as opposed to planning. That'd be additional work for Cassidy. I'm trying to see her body language back there.
I mean, I've talked to Carlin about it a handful of times, and there's a lot of new development, so I'm open to having more conversations and putting things out of the development. But it would be just out of our office.
Well, I'd love to see at least a workshop on part of the ballot, part of the district property, especially since there's no housing there. We'd love to see housing there. Then on the police issue, one of the problems we had a few years ago was they'd go into the academy, and then as soon as they could, they'd go to a different jurisdiction.
Right.
Have we been able to address that problem?
It has been addressed. It's no longer a problem.
Okay.
Our attrition rates for people leaving to go to other jurisdictions are minimal. In fact, police officers from other jurisdictions are coming to San Jose.
That's great.
So it's a reverse.
Okay.
So yes, that has been addressed.
And then there's a quick little story here as far as break-ins are concerned. Last week, my daughter's catalytic converter was stolen from her Prius. Somebody came in the middle of the night, jacked up her car, took the catalytic converter. And I understand that Prius catalytic converters go for something like $1,200. So she went online to see, look up catalytic converter, and that was the first thing that popped up. It was an epidemic of stealing catalytic converters off the Priuses.
Wow. So Doris?
Yeah, I just had a question. You're talking about the water recycling. I know Sam wants to turn our area into a really green area. I don't understand why the new developers are not being required, aside from dollars, to put in the gray water pipe so that when we do have the plant ready for recycling, pipe isn't already there. All these big 15-story buildings they're building now, they're not putting any of that in. So none of that water is going to be captured, and pretty soon we're going to be maxed out with all the new building height, and none of that is going to happen, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, and that's a great question. I probably would need to have like some of the folks from our environmental service division to come and speak on that. I know it's complicated. I know that they are very proactive in terms of purple pipes and wastewater going to major industrial sites. Some of the high-tech companies, particularly in North San Jose, that use a lot of water.
All the homes that are going to be doing laundry and,
Right.
dishwashing and toilets, the whole thing. I mean, 15 stories, that's a lot of wasted water that could be recycled.
Right, and that's a great point. Again, there's a lot of complexities here, and some of that is
dollars.
Well, no, it's not just dollars, but just the strategy in terms of how they want to, handle that water. Whether you have purple pipes that go to new developments, or you just have the normal pipes that go there, and you take the untreated water into the city's facility, you treat it, you get it to a certain water quality, and then you can use it for any number of things, including get to the point where you can actually drink it.
Right.
So, right now, that's their strategy, not trying to.
They're looking at the end product, but they could be looking at the beginning product too.
Yes.
Right, but they spent a lot of time understanding and looking at the cost and the efficiency of how to handle that water. And they made a strategic decision not to promote purple pipes going in every development. But it's not because they want to waste water, it's because they have a strategy in terms of how they're going to utilize that water.
So that might be a great topic for a future discussion. Justin, I think this probably should be the last one so we can keep on schedule.
What's the current status of the Safeway project on Payne?
So it's still moving forward as far as I know. I haven't received an update in terms of any problems.
So they were hoping to be open by Christmas. It didn't happen, so the CUP permit, which is like the one that allows them to sell alcohol, is still pending, and hopefully that'll be done within a few months. But it is still in progress. It hasn't solved or there's a lag.
Let's just see waiting for that Safeway.
On Payne and Winchester. So with, okay, Carla, last one.
I just want to second Bob's suggestion that we reconvene the Stevens Creek Urban Village, because that's a heart of your innovation zone. It's the heart of everything there. And if we turn that into a commercial corridor, you're just, it really seems to me to be something you're missing, a great bet of turning that into a real urban village.
Well, I have a feeling that between you and Bob and Ken and some of the other leaders of the community, that this is not going to be the last I'm going to hear about this.
But it will be the last we hear about it this morning. Let's everyone give Vice Mayor Jones a bit, and it's great to see you on your feet. Wait, did you have one last thing to say? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Well, yeah, just, I really didn't kind of tie everything together, particularly around the urban villages. So just real quickly, the big vision. We went through a long and difficult process of creating and improving those urban villages. And folks like Daphna and Bob and a lot of the other folks here in this room, were heavily involved in that. And so there was this vision and commitment from the community and a commitment to the community that if we go through this process and we develop these urban villages and development takes place, which is high density, housing, commercial, retail, that there will also be a commitment in terms of how people get to and from the urban village. And so that's where the transportation vision and strategy comes in. So we want to tie, and we made the difficult step of creating those urban villages. I went back to VTA and said, okay, we did the hard work. So now we need you to support us in terms of having transit going down Stevens Creek Boulevard. We reached out to our neighboring jurisdictions, Santa Clara, Cupertino, and the county of Santa Clara. They agreed on the vision. And then tie that into the innovation zone where we're going to have technologies that are going to improve traffic flow and transportation down that corridor and in that urban village and in that innovation zone. So just the big vision is almost like the city of the future, where you have people that are able to work, live, play, shop, and get to and from wherever else they want to go. That's going to be the model for the rest of the city, the valley, and in my mind, if we can do it right, the rest of the country. So I never really had an opportunity to kind of tie all the different pieces of the vision together. So I just wanted to do that before I ended. So anyway, that was it.
Thank you.
And I have to say that number 60, VTA 60, every 15-minute service to the airport and beyond. So thank you.